Hey everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Katie, and today I'm going to be having lots of fun coloring with you all. I have my other phone just so I can look at comments and everything while we're going to be coloring for the next probably hour and a half or so, depending on how quick I color and stuff. Because I'm a pretty slow colorist, so I might actually do this in two parts, one this week and one next week. So that way we're not here for like, 3 or 4 hours. So I think that's a good idea is to maybe make this a part one depending on how far we get within the next hour and a half or so. So this is the page we're working in, which I forgot to show the cover. Lulu's House of a Wonder by Lulu Mayo. And this is the buddy color on my channel. But if you don't have this book or just want to color a different page, feel free to, if you already did the page that we're going to be coloring this month, because I've been trying to put it closer to the beginning of the month or the middle of the month, so that way we all can color it together if you're joining in on the color along. So we're going to be doing this page, trying to figure out a good spot or angle. Should I put it in the center or to the side? Might do it to the side because I'm a lefty. All right, so I have my alcohol markers and my watercolors this week because I just figured it would be lots of fun to work with some watercolors this week. So I have my cup of water here in my Disney cup, and then I have a cloth, which I forgot to grab, but my cloth for my paintbrushes, and then I have my watercolors. The watercolor set I'm using is, still have a little insert here. It's the Gansai Tambi 48 color set by Kuretake, and it's one of my absolute favorite sets. I love it so much, and it just has so many colors in this set. I really love it, and I got this set years ago, and it's been lasting me a long time. I honestly thought I was like, this is an expensive set. I think I got a really good deal on it though, because I would never spend full price on it because it's so expensive. But I think I had a coupon at the craft store or something. And it's lasted me, I think, at least a good 4 years. Yeah, probably. So I just wanted to do like a quick kind of wash background, which again, I forgot to grab a cardstock. So I'll be back. That's the one thing I forgot. So I have my cardstock handy. I'm glad I'm close by to where everything is. So I can zip by and quickly grab cardstock to put behind the paper just to protect it, not necessarily from bleed through with the watercolors, but especially with the alcohol markers up. So we're going to go ahead and work on the background. I'm not sure what paintbrush I'm using actually. Probably one of the cheaper ones, Master's Touch. Yes. I don't have a lot of expensive paintbrushes or whatever, only because, as I said, they are expensive. So I'm going to start with I know it's 69, but I'm not exactly sure what color that is, but it's a pale blue. And we're going to start with that one for the background. And what I'm going to do is, as I said, I'm going to give it like a light wash so I can color over it, because there's always like these small spaces in between the flowers and stuff that you really just can't get to super easily with watercolors and stuff. So I just thought I would do like a nice, easy white wash or light blue wash around the flowers and stuff. And then I might add a little bit of a darker color around the edges. So you might not be able to see it on camera too well, but I just thought it'd be nice and quick and easy to do a nice light blue wash on the background. Just to kind of give it like maybe a light sky effect. I might go like the whole page, that way I can kind of blend out when I want to do a little bit of a darker color. But a nice, very, very pale blue, just to give it a nice color. I don't think I've ever really done a background like this with like a pale watercolor, but I think it'll work. And I don't necessarily have to go into like the girl and stuff because there's not really a background around her, but trying to get all the spaces that may or may not be in the area. I'm trying not to use too much water because I don't want it to kind of bleed all over the place or whatever. There we go. And if you're joining me for the first time, welcome. We're just having fun coloring today, enjoying chatting. I really like doing kind of this like pale blue background. It really just kind of has a nice color to it. First time using watercolors in this book too, so that's lots of fun and different. All right. I think we're mostly all done. I also don't want to use a lot of water because it's going to take forever to dry. So I am doing as little water as I possibly can so that way it will dry fairly quickly. I just need one little more in the corner here for a light blue wash. There we go. I think I'm going to put a little bit more in the corner here. It didn't look like I got any blue over there. All right, so I think we got all the blue spot. It is very pale, so unless you're looking at the white page, you really can't tell there's a blue wash on it. But I did do a light blue wash. And Misty's Coloring Craze is joining. Hi. She said she's going to grab her book now and ready to color with me. Awesome. Well, I'm glad at least one person's joining in. If you're going to join in, you don't even have to color if you just want to relax and chat. You don't even have to comment if you just want to hang out with me. I totally understand and get that if you just want to hang out because, you can be shy. But don't be if you just want to chat, But yeah, so, all right. I think I'm done with the paler blue. I'm going to go in a little bit with might actually do a little bit more blue in this corner because it didn't really give it too much of a darker tone. I'm using a little too much water, but that's okay. I also don't like to use a lot of water because it will buckle the page, and we don't want that to happen. But so far, it's doing a pretty good job of not buckling. Okay, I'm done with that color. Now I'm going to go in a little bit with one of the darker blues, and this looks really dark. It's not. I mean, it is dark, a darker blue, but it's not as dark as it looks. So this is number 63. I love that it has the number on the back in case you're kind of lost. Oh, it does have the color underneath. So this is cerulean blue, and our light blue we used. I forgot it says like underneath on the cardboard part. Our light blue was, if I can get out the little tray thing. I'm having problems today. There we go. Horizon blue was our light blue. So cerulean blue, I kind of want to add in just a little touch of this and not a lot. Like I'm going to really water it down because I don't want it to be super dark or whatever. So we're going to kind of water it down. But I just wanted a little bit of a brighter blue around the edges since, we're going to have fun. Maybe just a little bit darker. I love working with watercolors. I tend to work with them more with like just actually like just using them on their own, but I kind of like the idea of using them in coloring books as well. I'm gonna water that down a little bit more so it blends. I'm just gonna go around the edges and kind of create like maybe a light glow effect around it. I'm sorry that like I'm trying to put like the whole page in the camera, but it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to put the whole picture in camera. I don't know why, but it is a little bit harder. All right. I'm gonna go around here. Add a little bit more water. I like because watercolor is kind of quick and easy. So I'm trying to figure out, I'm like, what can I do for the background that's really quick and really fast? And I was like, oh yeah, watercolors. Watercolors are super quick and super easy. And it's just kind of fun just to give it kind of a quick background that you don't have to really think about or anything. And just work kind of quickly with the background. And I like watercolors because like you really don't know exactly what you're gonna get with watercolors because they do kind of, do their own thing. So I never really care too much about how it goes. And try to blend that a little bit better. There we go. The blues tend to blend really, really well. I'm liking how it's looking so far. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do the last corner. I'm trying to figure out which way to go because I'm a lefty. I think we'll do this corner first and go around. There we go. Blend back up here because we kind of lost a little bit of that blend. And go around. There we go. And I'm going to do just a little bit more on the bottom here. where we lost some of that darker blue. There we go. A little bit more water to blend it all in. Although we will kind of be blending as we're going anyways. We'll lose a lot of the color anyways because we'll be, coloring those spaces that we kind of miss. But just blending in where the two colors met, the lighter and the darker blue. There we go. I think that looks good. All right. So we could go in with like even a darker color into the corners, which I might do. I'm going to use the same color though. But we're just going to kind of put a little bit of a darker blue and maybe just do the corners in this kind of darker blue. Maybe just kind of giving it like a framed look if I can. I don't want to add too much because once you add too much water, it kind of does give it like a little bit of a buckling. So I don't want to add too much. I'm just going to go in and do the edges a little bit. Blend that out. All right. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit more water just to kind of smooth that out a little bit. Smooth that side up a little bit more. There we go. I like kind of just giving it a little bit of a darker color around the edges. And then I'm going to add just a little bit more color at the bottom. Probably won't do too much color on the bottom, but just enough to kind of give it some color. I might go ahead and do the whole edge there. There we go. All right. And then we'll do the last edge. It's holding up really well. I'm very, very pleasantly surprised how well the Lulu Mayo new coloring book is holding up to watercolor. Like there's a slight buckling, but not a whole lot, which I'm really, really happy with. All right, so I think that looks good. Let me try to smooth this out a little bit more. I think that is how we're gonna look. I like it. All right, so we're gonna leave that the way it is. Did a nice kind of gradient look. I like how it's looking. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my heat tool. So I'm gonna mute myself for a second while I'm drying this, and then I'll be back with the alcohol markers. That was a nice, easy, quick backdrop. All right, so I'm gonna mute myself. Sorry there's no music, but we will be back in about a minute or two. Okay, I'm back, and I realized we're not actually quite done with the watercolors because I wanted to do the flowers in watercolor as well, but I think we're gonna kind of wait for that until it's completely dry. It is completely dry, but I just want to make sure that like every space is dry. That way it won't really bleed too much into it as well. I might not, depending on what the plans go. so far, but let's go ahead and start coloring our characters and stuff. So, okay, I've got my huge alcohol marker set next to me. So we're going to go ahead and color with those. Hello, Sabrina. Welcome. Are you coloring with us or just popping in to say hi? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like a light tan base for our little panda character there. I'm not sure if she's a panda or what. I don't know, but we're using light earth brown in the Ohuhu set. But I thought we could do kind of a light tan and then we'll go with a little bit of a darker tan. She also could be a red panda too. I'm not exactly sure what color she is, but we're going to go ahead and color her in a red panda or brown panda kind of look. Besides, when I think of Lulu Mayo books, I think we can use pretty much any color imaginable because her characters are just so whimsical and everything that I very rarely use true to life colors in characters. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I thought a nice brown color would work for her. And then I'm not sure what color her ears, maybe a little bit darker. Oh, she's got little paws too. I didn't realize she had little paws. I also think her paper is fantastic for alcohol markers. Like they just go so well. Okay, does she have another paw showing? No, she does not. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do her tail in this color too. But then I'm gonna use a little bit of a darker shade to do the shading in her color. Figured we'd work our way from left to right, I guess. I'm gonna work on the characters first, and then I'm gonna go into all the flowers and the stems and detailings with that. All right, so we're gonna do that. Now I just need a little bit of a darker tone. I think I'll use this one. This is dark brown. And I think we'll go ahead and do her ears in dark brown. I think patches are normally like a lighter color than the rest, but I kind of like giving her like a little bit of a darker colors for her patches and detailing. Also gonna have to figure out the inner ear. Maybe we'll do like the light brown again. And her eyebrows, we'll do the darker. We're giving her like really dark eyebrows now. All right, I do a little bit of fur detailing around her face. I kind of just like to bring in the darker color and just kind of go in kind of where the artist already kind of drew some detailing, and then I'll go in and blend that out a little bit with the other color that we already used. It just kind of gives it some extra dimension. So I just kind of highlighted wherever the artist did. If you're looking for kind of tips on highlighting and detail, that's kind of what I do. Like if an artist already has detailing and highlights there, I don't tend to add my own. I just kind of go and follow hers. And then I'll go back in with the lighter color that we originally used to blend out anything that kind of just needs a little bit of a less, like not so strong of a highlight. You know, I kind of like to blend in my highlights and kind of just make it a little bit lighter. All right, and then I'll go in and do a little bit of around the darker highlight. The darker brown really isn't as dark as I thought it was going to be, so it's nice that it kind of gives a little bit, not too much of a contrast color. I think I will do her ears, her inner ears, the light tan. All right, what should we do for her outfit? I'm thinking spring colors, but the sunflowers are like yellow and orange, so I didn't really want to do like too far out there. And different colors and stuff. Maybe we'll give her kind of a green outfit. I think a green outfit would look really nice. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some of my most palest green. We've got celery. I think celery would be nice. It's an interesting name. What's this one? Lemon lime is too yellow. So we'll use celery and we'll use apple green. I think those are kind of a nice color. So I'm going to go ahead and do her kind of her sweater behind her jumper in the celery color, kind of that lighter green. Oh yeah, I think this was a perfect color. Also goes well with the brown too. So we're going to do that in celery green. I think we'll do her collar too in the celery green. I don't think I'll use a different color for the collar. And I'm not sure if we'll bring the celery in again. Maybe we will in the pocket area. Do the celery in the pocket. And then maybe in part of the purse. I actually just recently got two beautiful purses that are actually almost this exact color in between the celery and the green apple. And I can't wait to go out and use them. I think it'll be lots of fun to use those. All right, that looks good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back in that light brown, the light brown, or it is light earth brown. I'm going to go back in and do her purse strap in the light brown to kind of match. There, I like that. Maybe we should do, no, I was thinking about doing like the little frills in brown, but I don't think I will. All right, let's go ahead and do the apple green in part of, hopefully it's dark enough. Oh, good. It is a nice dark green, not super dark, but enough to contrast the colors that we were doing. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to do half the stripes in this apple green, and I'm going to try to find an even darker green that will go for the other stripes. Okay, is that a stripe? Yes, it is. Trying to make sure that I have all the stripes. Sometimes you can tell. She does a really good job at like everything connects. Like you know it's an artist made book. Like when everything connects and everything looks really lined up, like behind the plants and stuff. There we go. Loving this green theme though with her. I think she looks really cute. I think that might be. Oh, I should have done the other one. Oh well, that's okay. Just a small stripe that's going to match the other one. All right, I'm done with the apple green. I'm going to look for one that's just a shade darker. I think this one looks good. This is mantis green. I'm going all in with the nature colors today. At least the nature colored titles today. Oh yeah, that'll work. Just to like, it's just a shade darker than our apple green that we use. If you're wondering, I think I have the 200 or 220 set that I got from Michael's from Ohuhu, and I really, really love this set. It has so many colors that honestly, I don't know what to do with because there are a ton of colors, and it's just sometimes it's a bit too many colors to choose from. This is only like my second or third time using these, but I do love them. They work really well. All right, there we go. I might do some detailing in that apple green just to kind of give a little bit of shading to her little collar area and maybe into her sweater. What I like about these markers too is that you can really shade well with just the markers. You don't have to go back in with colored pencils if you don't want to. You can shade really nicely with just alcohol markers. And I'm going to go ahead and go back in with the lightest green we used, just to kind of blend it out. Very cute. Loving how she's looking. All right, I think that's good for our little girl there. All right, so let's go in, and there's like this little ghost character in the back. Honestly, I have no idea what to color it. I'm thinking maybe I would kind of just leave it as is. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll leave it as is, and maybe I'll do like, I was wondering if I had my micron pen with me. I don't think so, but maybe I would like draw in the leaves so it looks kind of see-through and stuff. I might do that. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. Or we could just color it a different color, but I think I might just leave that character as is. All right, let's go ahead and go into the little girl. So let's see. I think I was gonna do like a darker tone on her, but let's see. Let's make her like, oh, it's still winter out. So maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we should just be like, she hasn't gotten quite some sun yet. Maybe we should do like really pale. Golden champagne. No, that's too yellow for what I want. I don't know what color I want to do. Maybe this one. What's this one? Cream? Still a little bit. I kind of wanted her to be like a pale pink, kind of salmon orange. Yeah, she could get a little sun. Let's try it on her hands first and see if it's too dark. Oh, it is kind of on the dark side. Good thing I tested out first. Okay, let's try this one. All right, this is pink lemonade. Okay, let's do this one. I like the name. We'll do the pink lemonade. Yeah, I like that color. She's got a little tan going on. That'd be kind of funny, like if you like found your perfect skin tone. Actually, pink lemonade's actually really close to my skin tone. So, so pink lemonade could actually be my skin tone, and I'm using my own skin tone in this picture. That's kind of funny. All right. Oops, don't forget her other hand. Here we go. There's always some part. That's why I leave out all the markers I've used just in case I forget a spot. Yeah, just in case. And I just realized I don't know if I put blue here or not. I think I missed a spot in the watercolors in that area. Might go back and fix that, but I can't really tell. So my face is definitely not this color. Like I'm very pale in my face, but everywhere else I seem to have this color, at least in my hands and arms. So if you're new to alcohol markers, you do really have to work fairly quickly. You can't like pick up your brush mid-stroke and like go back like 5 minutes later or whatever. You actually have to like just do a continuous brush stroke. Otherwise, it will leave those streaky lines. All right, I think we're officially done with this color. I can do it for this character as well, or do a completely different color. Might do a completely different color for that little character, but I think I am done with this color, so I'm gonna put it to the side. I don't think we'll need it anytime soon. I am gonna keep the grains out though for the stems, for the leaves and stuff. I think we might do the leaves and everything in alcohol markers, and maybe the flowers in watercolors at the end. All right, what should we do for the little girl? I'm thinking we might do maybe we'll do like hmm, trying to think like spring colors. What would go good with the color scheme we have going on? Maybe I'll put her in blues. I think I'll do her in blues. That way she kind of matches the sky. So let's go with light cerulean to start off with. But I think we'll do light cerulean. But I think that would be kind of fun to kind of match her with the sky background. She was like, I feel like matching the sky today. So I'm gonna do a light blue. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with a darker color for like the dress and stuff, but we'll do all the detailings and everything in the lighter blue. And so far, if you're wondering if alcohol markers do well over watercolors, so far it's going very, very well, which is good. All right, I think I'm going to go ahead and should I do the whole hat? I think I'll do the whole hat in the lighter blue. She really like this color. What color do you think we should do her hair? Should we give her blonde hair, brown, red, black? Black's tricky, but I can do black. Actually, one of my favorite pictures I've ever done, I did black hair and I did kind of like make it like gray looking, and then I did like a darker gray theme and it looked beautiful. It was really pretty. But I don't know if we'll give her black hair or not. We could. She might look actually really pretty in that. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do maybe her bag is gonna be an entirely different blue, I think. But I'm gonna do her hearts in the lighter blue. I'm going to do the background. I'm not too worried about going outside the lines because alcohol markers are kind of pretty forgiving when you do a different color in the background. So I'm just going to do the hearts in the lighter blue. I think blue is a good choice for her because it kind of matches the blue sky in the background, kind of brings it all together. I was thinking about bringing an audiobook with me, but then, I wouldn't be able to chat with you guys if I was just listening to an audiobook. But that's what I normally do when I am coloring. I'm either watching TV or listening to an audiobook. We've been rewatching Family Matters lately, which has been a lot of fun. I love Steve Urkel, and I always tell my mom, I said, if they didn't bring him in, I don't think the show would have lasted as long as it did because he really was the show, and I don't know, he deserved an Emmy for being Steve Urkel. Like he was such a great actor in that show. All right, almost done with our cute little heart. I think I'll do her socks. What should her socks be? I think her socks should be the lighter blue as well. I kinda like to stretch out the color that I'm using, like, I tend to, like, stick with the same color for quite a while until I think I'm done with it. Alright, we're gonna do her socks. Maybe I should have done her socks in a lighter blue, but that's okay, a little too late for that now. Yeah, it probably would've been cuter with lighter blue, but that's okay. Alright, so I think we're done with the lighter blue. I was thinking about doing oops, there's a heart. Ha, I knew I was gonna miss something, I always do, but I caught it before I finished. I think trying to think what color I should do her bag in, but I think her bag should be like an entirely different blue, not like super off, but like a little bit. All right, so we're done with this one. Now I want to go in and do like not a super dark blue, but like I kind of want to do like a really dark blue for her dress. What about this one? That one's not bad. What's this one? Antwerp blue. Interesting. But it might be too dark. Hmm. Let's see what else we have here. Got this one. Okay, this one might be better. We can kind of test out this one. This one is Tahitian blue, and that one might work out. Let's try it out on her hat first and see what it looks like. Okay, I think that'll work. It's not a whole lot darker. I was kind of hoping for like maybe like really, really dark, but I think that'll work. Hmm. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay. So we're gonna go in and do the background now. Finish that up. If you are rewatching too, you can feel free to rewatch this if you want, if you missed the live. And, you can always join in the conversation, and I will be happy to respond to your comments as well. But let me know, do you have a most used item that you use while coloring? Like, do you mostly use pencils? Do you mostly use alcohol markers or water-based markers, crayons? I'd love to know. I think majority, especially lately, it's been Tombow brush pens just because they're the easiest. They're like literally right next to me. And I use those a lot. It used to be strictly colored pencils, but it takes me forever to color a page if I use colored pencils. So otherwise, I tend to stay away from the colored pencils unless it's just detailing and stuff. Thankfully, I haven't spent like a fortune on colored pencils or anything. But also, my hands hurt too a lot when I color with colored pencils. Like by now, my hand would be hurting and I'd have to stop. With alcohol markers, I can go for hours. Also, Tombow brush pens too. I don't know what it is about colored pencils. I don't know if you are the same way where like colored pencils hurt your hands, but man, they really hurt my hands. I did find though recently that I found a really really nice kind of rubber grip thing that you would use in school and stuff. But I got myself some. It actually works with my colored pencils, and it slips on really easily onto the colored pencil, and I can color for a lot longer than I used to. So I'm really happy that I found that. Missy Coloring Cray says I mostly use colored pencils. Yeah, yeah, that was my main thing that I used to use until I discovered markers, and also depends on the paper too. If I know kind of what what medium works with what paper, that's what I tend to use. So like this paper I really like for watercolors and alcohol markers. If it's her other books that are double-sided uh, and have it's not really thinner paper, it's almost the same. But I like watercolors and Tombow brush pens in those. For like the really thin pages. I like to use alcohol markers only because I color quicker in like those really thin books from Amazon, but I tend to mostly use markers in those. I think my color pencils I like to use more in books like Christine Karen's books, where like hers are grayscale. So I like to kind of bring in a lot of shading into her books. So I think that's where I use the majority of my color pencils. It's probably why I haven't colored in any of her books recently. I just got some new ones too of hers the past couple months, and I'm like, I really need to color in them because she is one of my favorite artists. I just haven't colored in a while. I should put those in my plans for next month. Also, this is actually my very first page I will be finishing this month. I have not been coloring lately. I've actually had to do a lot of work actually this month with YouTube channels and catching up in some review books that I need to get finished. So it's been actually quite busy for me where I haven't had a whole lot of time to color this month. I started 2 pages though the other day when I was chatting with a couple friends of mine, but I barely started those, so I don't know if those are going to get done this month. Hopefully, even if I only have a couple pages done, at least I have something to show you at the end of the month. Last month though was crazy. I colored so much. I think that's just me, I'll color like a ton in one month and then barely color in another month. I remember when I first got back into coloring, I colored so much. I think I started coloring like in October of like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and there were just so many like coloring challenges and everything that I was just like, I have to join in everything. Okay, I think I'm gonna go in with the really dark one that I showed you, the Antwerp blue, and do her cuffs in the really dark blue. Oh yeah, that is really dark. I'm glad we only stuck with this one for the detailing because it is a very dark blue. I might do her purse strap in this darker blue too. There we go. Very cute. I like that. Okay. All right. Now I think what I'm going to do is I'm trying to think about her purse. I'm thinking I'm thinking still blue for her purse, but I think I'm going to go with a very, very pale blue. And let's do pale sky blue and see what that looks like with the purse. Oh yeah, I think that might work. Also trying to blend in that brown color that kind of carried over from. Okay, what I might do is I think I might do like a little bit of a tone change. What's this one? Arctic blue. Let's see if Arctic blue. I kind of wanted to kind of like, I don't know, just kind of create a little bit of a mood swing where like we do kind of like 3 different shades or just two. Yeah, I think we'll just do 2 shades. I thought that was kind of an interesting thing. I'm like, let's do maybe we're like it's a little bit lighter on one side. Yeah, I kind of like that. That's pretty. All right, so her bag is done. Okay, now her hair. I am thinking about doing kind of like that gray kind of undertone thing. Maybe she's like a little old lady. I don't know. But I think that would work. So I'm gonna start off with like uh the cool grays. Cool grays are always my favorite. So nope, that's definitely not cool gray. That's warm gray. Cool gray always works really great for hair. Okay, that's a cool gray. So maybe we'll do that. And then I need a little bit darker so I can get some shading and stuff. I really need to reorganize the markers. I did everything, but then I kind of disorganized a little bit. That's blue gray. Oh, maybe I did kind of put them all together, but I just didn't really think about it. There's not really okay, there's cool gray. All right, so maybe those will work. Let me try the lightest gray. Kind of the undertone of her hair. Then we'll build it up with a couple other different colors. That's also kind of what I do is like, it's always better to start off lighter than darker. That way, if you didn't like the color, you can kind of go over it with a darker color if you wanted to. It's actually not a bad gray, actually. She could be a little old lady. She doesn't have any wrinkles, but not every old lady has wrinkles. My grandmother really did not have hardly any wrinkles. There we go. All right, I'm going to go in with the darker gray. What's this one? Deep gray. I'm going to try, oops. I always like to use the brush tip, and I always forget what side is the brush tip. And maybe do a little bit of a darker tone in her bang area. And maybe into her hair here. I think that looks really nice, actually. Kind of gives off a little bit of like that black we were talking about. Not too bad. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with the darkest gray that I had picked out, which was just called gray, I guess. But I'm going to like do just a little bit more of the darker gray in her bang area. This is actually very close, though, to the other gray that we kind of used, but that's okay. And then maybe do more of it down at the bottom. Yeah, this is definitely very similar to the other gray that I used, so it's not really showing up. I think I'm going to need a little bit of a darker gray. Just a little. But all the other grays that I have are all warm gray when it comes to like the darker tones. Not this one. Well, it says blue gray. It's going to be too much. We'll try. We'll try at the very, very edge and kind of blend out. Okay, that's actually not bad. Yeah, I think the blue gray is actually not that bad. We can always blend it with the lighter color. Yeah, I actually really like that. And we'll go in and just do her ends in this darker color. Oops, almost, I think I colored a little bit into her skin by accident because my hand's in an odd shape there. All right, so we're gonna just blend out a little bit. There we go. I think that looks cute. Now I'm gonna go ahead and go in with one of the lighter ones, the deep gray, I think. And I'm gonna blend out the darker gray, just a hair, so it kind of blends in through her hair a little bit. I actually might end up going in and shading up higher because I just feel like that weird empty space kind of gives her like a ball cap almost. So I'm actually going to go in and highlight her entire top of her head too. I just think it was just too weird. Yeah, that's better. Too off. So we'll do that and give it a little. Yeah, that's better. It just kind of looked funny a little bit. Yeah, I think that looks good. And I might actually end up doing the entire thing in that darker gray up at the top. Only because I kind of really like this darker gray more than the lighter gray. I think it kind of blends a little bit better into her hair. All right, I'm gonna go back in with that darker blue or the darkest gray one last time, just to kind of give it a little bit more dimension since I added more of the darker tones into it. Okay, that works. A little bit more at the top. There we go. Oh, she looks cute. All right, so that's done with her hair. Probably could have shaded a little bit more, but I think we're good. I think we're good. We're just gonna leave it. We're gonna leave it. All right. Enough of the gray hair. Okay. Let me think here. Let's go ahead and do the mushroom character. And I've done the mushroom character before, and I've done her in purple, which I actually loved. Well, it's either blue or purple. It might have been blue, or it could have been both, because I've seen this mushroom character a lot in her art. But I think what we're going to do is, I think we will go ahead and do her in like a purple color scheme. So I really, really, really liked purple when I did it. So I'm going to give her a very, very light purple skin tone. let's do pale purple for her skin tone. And okay, the chick has like weird arms. I thought the chick was like part of that, but it's not. I don't think this character has any arms. I don't think from what I mean, a slight arm, but like not a whole lot. So we're just gonna go ahead and go around. It's more of a dark purple than what I've used before, but that's okay. I think it's one of the lightest purples that I have. I don't get to use purple very often. She's almost looking like she ate the blueberries from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. That's what happened one time. Like, I used an orange skin tone for a girl one time, and it was way too orange. And so I was like, let's just make her an Oompa Loompa because it was way too orange. All right. I think that works out good. She can be a little purple. Oh, we did forget to add, though, some blush onto the little girl. This one, Pink Sand. Let's try Pink Sand and give her a little bit of rosy cheek. Kind of. That looks better. Just to kind of give her some rosy cheeks. There, I like that. Kind of give her some color. All right, now for the purple. I think we also might give her some rosy cheeks in Deep Periwinkle. That'll be fun. See how deep it is, though. Okay, good. It's not super deep. Actually, might use this for her hat as well. I think that'll be a nice color for the mushroom cap. I could have done the mushroom cap in like actual like true to life colors. Who says there aren't purple mushrooms though? I bet there's like really pale purple mushrooms out there somewhere. But I just think it'd be fun to kind of use all the purples in this one girl. All right, so we got the purple there. Let's see, do we want purple on anything else? Maybe we'll go ahead and do the lighter purple in her clothing as well. Hopefully I won't miss any spots on coloring. This is kind of a harder spot because like I'm looking at all the colors and I think, oh no, like it's in between the plants. So like I have to figure out, is it a plant or is it her? Okay, I think that's all plant. So I think we'll go down here. Let's try to figure out what this is down here. That might be part of her leg, but I was thinking it was also the chick because it looks like it has fur. Yeah, I can't tell if it's the chick or her. Like underneath the dress area, because I would think chick because it's got kind of like some fuzz on the hair, unless the poor mushroom girl just didn't shave her legs that day. So we can do either one. I might just make it the mushroom girl because it kind of lines up with her more than the chick character. I might just end up doing that. All right, so I'm going to save this purple though because I want to use it later on. I think I might go back on the skin tone purple and use the pale purple into her hat as well. And it's almost like kind of like a reddish purple, which I kind of like. I almost thought I muted myself by accident still. Good news is I did not do that. I've done that before where like I'm just yakking and I've been muted like the entire time. Thankfully it's only been like a few minutes, but it's like, oh, you're still muted. I only muted myself when I dried the watercolors. Okay, so we've got the purple down. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do, let's see, a little bit of a darker purple for some shading and stuff. What about this one? Is that darker? Yeah, a little bit. This is lavender. As I said, using all of the nature names. I just think that'll be a nice kind of shade around her crown area. I tend to kind of just give it like a little bit of ombre effect in her little mushroom cap. I just think it just makes it kind of a bit more dimensional. You might be able to finish this whole page in one day. What time is it? It's been almost an hour. Go ahead and do, I might do the color in a deeper purple than this, but at least we'll give it a kind of a little bit of a beginning there. Okay, I think we need a little bit of a deeper purple. Try not to go too deep. Okay, this is like really deep purple. Blue bonnet. but I kind of want to do it for the mushroom circles up here. Okay, it's actually not as dark as I thought it was going to be. It's actually quite pretty. Actually did notice that when alcohol markers dry, they tend to dry just a shade lighter, I think, than what you normally originally put down. I think this nice deep purple is going to be nice. I actually think I'm going to put it for her collar too. Or maybe like I'll just shade it in a little bit. I think that'll be nice. Maybe I'll shade her dress in this too. That's pretty. I like that. We might do her leggings in this, if that is her legging. It is now. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead, and finish these 2 dots up here. I think it's a fun color scheme. It's very spring-like. I didn't really have any rhyme or reason with like the characters and stuff. I just kind of thought, they're a bunch of friends getting together, walking in the woods. We can have any type of colors. I'm going to put very little bit of purple up here in the crown area. And we'll blend out if need be. I just think it needed just a little bit of a darker tone. Okay, I want to go in with, I think it was this one. Yeah, deep periwinkle, and I'm going to blend out that darker purple just a hair. All right, and then we'll blend a little bit in the collar area and her dress. I think it blended really nicely and looks really cute. Yeah, I think I should have blended a lot quicker with the dress part, but that's okay. At least it still looks cute. Okay, I think we're officially done with all of the purples and stuff. So I'm starting to get a little bit clogged here as far as markers go. So I'm going to move the purples out of the way. I think we're going to do matching hats, maybe. Or I might do, yeah, let's do matching hats for the girl and the chick. I think I did light cerulean, I think, for the outer rim. But I think that would be really, really cute to have. I figure out where her hat starts. But I just think that'd be really cute to kind of have matching hats and bring in the blue over here. I don't think the chick's wearing any clothes, so we're just going to make him all yellow, aside from his little hat. All right, his little hat down. We're going to go in with this darker blue, which was Tahitian blue. Might do a little bit of shading in his hat. Yeah, I might do just a little bit of shading around the edge. Kind of give it a little bit of color and then blend out with the other blue. Try to work quicker this time. Yeah, that's much better. Yeah, if you let one layer dry in between, then it doesn't really blend that well. But if you can get to it quickly, they blend really nicely. The purple just didn't blend well because I kind of blew it and didn't go back and forth quickly enough. All right, I think, don't quote me, but I think we're done with the blues. I think so. Okay. The blues can go away. Just trying to make room. Okay. Now the chick. I think we're just gonna go with like a casual chick yellow kind of color. It might start off pale. This is butter. I think butter will look nice. And if it doesn't, then we'll just use a different one. Yeah, I think that'll work. It's actually a lot brighter than I thought it was gonna be. It's almost giving off green almost. Yeah, it's almost giving off a green, even though it's called butter. I don't know if I like this or not. We'll find out, I guess, when we're done. We'll find out. But it's not giving off a great. Although I just realized it could have been the watercolors underneath, but there wasn't any watercolor on the chick. So definitely giving green over yellow. So I am going to finish it though, but I think I'm going to color over it in like a brighter yellow and see if we can fix it, because this is way too, as I said, too green. Okay, I think that's everything in the chick. No, that's part of the bunny. Okay. All right, that is way too green, even though it said butter. So I'm going to go in and try to find a pale yellow. I don't have a lot of yellow. A lot of them is like really, this is light gold. How does it compare to butter? It almost looks the same as butter. Okay, this one is canary. This one's kind of giving a bit more chick, even though it's bright yellow, but maybe we can kind of blend. But see, now it's kind of giving off orange. That is so weird. Probably because of the green undertones of the other one, but maybe we can kind of like blend it a little bit and kind of, I'm gonna try not that butter, but the other one, the golden color, and try to blend in a little bit. Just try to blend it in a little bit more. Maybe give it kind of like a golden, like maybe. Oh, I just realized he is kind of peeking out from behind the mushroom girl. So maybe it will kind of like look like he's kind of in the shade and he's peeking out. That's genius. That's genius. We'll do that. All right. We'll just kind of give her like a shade mark so she's kind of peeking out. I like that actually. That is a good idea. All right. We'll kind of leave it like that. I like that. Excuse me. Losing my voice a little bit, but I am going to blend out just a hair into with the butter, just to kind of know that it's shaded out a little bit. There we go. But I think that's actually a smart idea to kind of look like she's peeking out of the shade and stuff. Okay, so that's done. Now we only have our little bunny characters left, and then we're going to go into the nature part of everything. But I think we can finish it today. If I can finish it in the next hour, then I think we're good. Okay. Let's do the bunnies in, should we just do bunnies in pink? Because I always think, whenever I think of bunnies, I think of pink. I know it's not realistic, but I always think of pink bunnies when I think of bunny characters. Faded lilac might look good though, but it might be too close to the pink or the rosy lilac. Why aren't we getting anything that's like super pink here? I must have mixed a lot of the pink with like some of the purples. Pink carnation, that actually might look really cute. Let's do that. Oh, it's going to be a very hot pink bunny. That's okay. Let's do the ears in this bright pink and try to find a little bit of a lighter color to go for the rest of the bunny rabbit. There's not like anything that's like super pale pink. Let's just try the faded lilac. Yeah, it's giving kind of purple, but it's not bad. And it kind of goes well with the ears actually. So I think the faded lilac's actually not bad. Yeah, it's not bad. Okay. Well, we'll go with it. Trying to blend out some of that blue from the dress by accident that I got on the poor bunny. All right. I think the faded lilac's cute. It does look kind of more purpley, but that's okay. And I kind of blended out a little bit in the ears, and I think it kind of gives a little bit of shaded effect to the little bunny's ears. So I think it turned out better than I thought it would. Not the exact color I was picturing, but not bad. All right, that's not bad. All right, now, should I continue with this purple, or maybe I'll use the other one, the pink carnation, and maybe do like a little bit of shaded effect and do like the bottom frill in like this color, and then kind of blend it out with the faded lilac. And give it a little bit of color there. Yeah, that's pretty. Kind of gives it a little bit of a nice shade to it. I'll do the bottom like that too. Might even do a little bit of the other layer with that color as well, but I'll at least do this bottom layer with that color. Very, very cute. I really like the whole purple and pink theme with the bunnies. I think it blended really well. I'm gonna put a little bit of that pink carnation into the top layer as well because I just think it looked really cute. Hopefully I can still blend it out. I actually tend to do a lot more shading in her other books than I do in this one, but at least we're doing a little bit of shading. I think I might do a little bit more shading in the little guy. Just kind of do like what we did with like the, oh, we should have done the shading on the other side of him. I just realized, but that's okay. There you go. Very, very cute. Cute little bunny. All right, so our bunnies are done. Oops. All right. Yeah, so I think I might leave the ghosts the way they are. I also forgot about the chickie's beak. Let's do like a marigold type color. Oh, marigold orange. I was gonna guess it was called marigold, but I wasn't sure. Oh, that's a perfect beak color. Love that. That's a perfect beak color for our chick. Okay. Now we can go into our leaves and stuff. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the lightest green. Where was our lightest green that we used? Celery. It was celery, right? Yes, celery. So lightest green I'm going to use for the stems. I think the stems should be the lightest green because we're kind of leading into the flower and stuff. So I think the celery will be the nicest color for those. And I also think I will be using this for the leaves as well, but then we'll shade with a couple of different colors. All right, any other stems over there? Nope. Okay. Stems are another thing I have a problem with when I color is I always forget a couple of stems somewhere. Somebody can mention it to me in the comments if I missed one. All right, I do like the celery color for the stems. I think it'll be a really nice color. I tend to color all my leaves the same, no matter if they come from different plants. I usually color the leaves in exactly the same colors, even if they could be entirely different plants. Not all the time, but most of the time. I'm too lazy to find another green. All right, there's our green. Up there's a stem I would have forgotten. All right, I think I got this one, but it doesn't look like it's colored, so I'm gonna color it again. And I think this is our last stem. There weren't too many stems, so that's good. All right, I think that's our last stem. Not sure what I'm gonna color the mushroom stems. I think I'll use like a tan or something, or maybe, yeah, I need like a tan or something. Maybe this one, soft sand. I think soft sand will be good for our mushrooms. Oh yeah, that'll be good. I think I might actually color our little toadstool part, whatever you call the little toppers. I'll color those in the same little tan. Yeah, I like that. All right, where's our other mushrooms? There they are. Here we go. It's going a lot quicker than I thought it was going to, honestly. I actually thought this was going to be a page that would take a long time, but it's kind of nice. Time goes quickly when you're yakking. All right. And I think for the mushrooms themselves, I think I will do. Not sure what I want to do. Maybe I'll do like one of the browns or something. Yeah, maybe I'll do light earth brown like what we did in the raccoon for the mushroom. I think that's good. I'm still trying to figure out if I want to do the flowers in watercolors or not. I'm not sure. I don't think they'll bleed with the alcohol markers because alcohol markers are pretty permanent. Oh, I forgot part of the mushroom. I think that's part of a mushroom. Bottom, so I'll have to go back and do that. There we go. Very, very cute little mushroom. Okay, now I'm going to go back in with that tan color. I think it was this one, soft sand. Yes. I missed a part of the mushroom. There we go. All right, now I can go in and thinking I will stick with the celery color, and then I can go in and give it some shading. So let's find our celery. Celery just screams leaf anyways. I mean, the name, it just says that's celery. And we're going to quickly color in That's what I like to do. I go really quickly and color in all the leaves in a solid color, and then I go in and shade them. I've always been that way. It just kind of helps me to finish a bit quicker. I don't have to concentrate on the leaves, like, because I also look at the patterns of the leaves and be like, okay, this is how I want to do it, and I'll figure it out as I go along and color all of them in one solid light color, and then I go in with darker shades and do some shading. I usually follow the the lines of a stem. Sometimes, like, I'll follow the veins. Other times, I just kind of shade the center and the outside. It just depends on what kind of shading mood I'm in. This time, I think I might do just the centers and the outside in shading. I think that's what I'm thinking. All right, now question is outer part of this sunflower, though, this part. Because I know the underside of sunflowers tend to be green, so I think I'm going to go ahead and color the underside of this leaf green. Yeah, I think that looks good. All right, there's leaves up here. I don't know why there's leaves way up here, but okay. You wouldn't think there would be, but those are definitely leaves and not part of the flower. I'm gonna have to put celery down as a perfect leaf green. All right, there we go. Oh, that is part of the leaf. I thought that was sky, but that's a leaf. All right, I think that's part of the leaf. That's what I like about alcohol markers. They're so quick. All right, that's a leaf. It's funny, every time I say that's a leaf, I think of the VeggieTales song that Larry sings when he sings, "It's a lip, it's a lip, it's a lip, it's a lip, lip, lip." And now it's a leaf, it's a leaf, it's a leaf, it's a leaf, leaf, leaf. Sorry. My brain goes to weird places sometimes. That was one of my favorite VeggieTales songs. If you know VeggieTales, that's definitely one of the songs that gets stuck in your head. I actually did a journaling page with the "It's a Lip" song. I put a bunch of lips and then Larry singing the song. Okay. Okay, these markers are kind of getting in the way, so I'm going to go ahead and move some of these. Except for the greens. I do need the greens. Okay, that's better. Now I have more room, especially since I'm getting into the corner here. All right, I don't think there's any more leaves in that area. I think it's just this bottom one. Oh, I forgot about the ones on the bottom. Can't forget those. Looks like we're almost done. So, I mean, not super almost done, but like I can see the end in sight here. I was thinking about, for some reason, I tried out orange highlights on green leaves. It actually looks really nice, but it kind of makes the leaves look more, I would say, fall. So we're not going to do that. We're definitely going to do some spring leaves. But I just thought it was such a cool effect. I was like, wow, orange and green look really great together when they're shaded together. I did that for 2 pages last month, and I thought it was really pretty. I don't think we're going to do it for this page. It's definitely more of a spring page. I'm glad you guys chose this page because it just has this springness to it, and sunflowers are my favorite flowers. So. Although smell wise, sunflowers smell like nothing. So if I had to pick a flower based on smell, I'd probably choose lilacs. All right, leaves are almost done. These always take the longest because it just seems like they're never ending. Like where is the ending of the leaves? I have no idea where they are. All right. Oops, sorry, I'm off camera a little bit. It's kind of hard to tell when my camera is like almost over my head. So I have to look at my other phone to tell. I tried to zoom out, but like you really can't zoom out with a phone for StreamYard. I'm gonna maybe try and see if I can. I was thinking about also doing it from my laptop because I realized this morning that I do have a webcam. So I actually might be able to set that up and use my webcam, and then I'll be able to actually put your comments on the screen instead of just, responding out loud when I see your comments pop up on my phone. I can do it from my phone, but I can only answer or I can only put so many comments on the screen. It won't scroll down, which is really weird. All right, one last leaf, and then we can go into shading. This is when I get really tired though, and I'm like, I really don't want to shade. All right, wow, that was a lot of leaves. Okay, now we can go back in. I'm going to keep this color out because I do need that for blending wise. I'm going to go ahead and use the one green that I liked from the one dress that we put. It was apple green. It definitely was not mantis green. Okay, so apple green. And I think I am going to only do the outside of the stems and then the inner. I don't think I'm going to follow the, whatever they're called, the veins of the leaf today. And when I'm tired, but I also think it shades really nicely just doing the outer edges and the center. So if you don't want to follow the veins and stuff, it does create kind of a bit more shading, but I tend to just kind of follow the edges of the leaf and then do the center. And then I use the same color that we used in the leaf and I blend it into the lighter shade and just kind of creates a nice, easy, and quick shade to it. And it leaves the original color in the center. And it's a really quick way to shade. All right. Sometimes I do like 2 or 3 leaves at a time, but if you want like a nice blend to it, then you should do the entire leaf at once, but you don't have to. So I think that's what I'm doing just because you get a nice seamless blend if you don't let the layers dry too quickly. Oops, I just colored the those flower there for a little bit. That's okay. Okay, I'm going to add just a shade of the green and underneath our leaf there, maybe a little bit into the edge. Okay, I might have to lower that a little bit. Okay, then blend out. Very cute. I think that was the color I was using it. Okay, that side's done. And you can go in and do the stem shading a little bit, but because the stems are so thin and so skinny, I don't think I'm going to do them today. Oh, am I using the right color? Yes, I am. I just inked myself a tiny here. All right, I'm going to go and do these. I might do 2 or 3 of these at a time because they're so small. Okay. And then go in with our lighter color. There we go. Cute, very cute. I like the way they're looking. So for the lighter color, I'm using celery, and then the darker color, I'm using apple green. So they both make really great names for leaves. And then I have one more. I could have done all of them at once, but I didn't realize there was only one leaf left. There's our last leaf up on the top. The shading's taking a lot less time than going and doing just the initial shading. Okay. Trying to think of where should we go next. We're going to do the bigger leaves next. Center and then the outer edge. Try to do at least 2 or 3 at a time. Not really much of an edge to that plant though, or that leaf. And I almost forgot I did one more. No, I think I'm going to do a little bit of the outer edge there. Yeah, that looks better. All right, and then our last 2 big leaves. You can do a little bit of a thicker line if you want to, but I like to just kind of leave them a little bit on the thinner side. That way it leaves room for shading and you don't lose that initial first color. So sometimes you do. If you do too thick of a line, you kind of lose that initial lighter color because when you do a second layer of that first lighter color, it also darkens it up too. So you don't really want to lose that first initial color if you want that nice light center, which I do like the light center because it almost gives off like sun, like the sun kind of streaming through the cloud or through the leaves. So I like to kind of make sure it just still has that center yellow part in it. I did that with some flowers I'm working on too with Tombow brush pens. All right, we'll do these little leaves. Yeah, I'm still not sure if what I want to do for the sunflowers. Watercolors are always fun, but I'm not sure because the alcohol markers are looking really nice. Honestly, alcohol markers kind of look like watercolors almost like when they're shaded. I feel like they kind of look similar to what I would do with watercolors. Right. I'm gonna do all three of these flower or leaves at once. Talking about flowers and I say leaves. And do the outer edges. There we go. And then do our last shading. And I tend to, if I do a couple leaves at a time, I work on blending the first leaf that I started that way because you don't want that one to dry, last or whatever. So I tend to like work in around, like start off with the shading and then I go back around and blend in the order that I started. You go around in a circle. You don't want to like blend this one, then this one, and this one, and then go in with a lighter color and start with this one. Like it's better if you work, the other way around. That way, hopefully it won't dry too quickly before you blend. All right. Oh, our last ones. Our last leaves. Super happy that we're almost done with the leaves. Okay, I'm gonna work on this bunch first. They're a little bit more bendy. Like I like to follow the bend of the leaf, so it could take a little bit longer. I don't know why I follow the bend, but it's just more fun and makes it look more cool. So I only do 2 leaves at a time with this one. I also don't know if I should do the center of these. I think I should just do the um, outer leaves because these are kind of teeny. So I think I'll do the outer leaves instead and not the center. There we go. Last 2 in that bunch. Yeah, they're too teeny to do the center, so I'm not going to really do the centers. That way I still have that space that's open to look nice. We're just going to do the outer edges for these little guys. Got some traffic going by. If you could hear the truck is zooming by. We don't live on a super busy street, but every once in a while we do have some traffic. Oops, I just went straight to another leaf. Didn't realize that leaf ended. That's okay. Trying to get all those rest of the leaves done at once. All right, and then go back in and blend as best as I can. Blend in. Really love working with leaves. Leaves are like one of my favorite things to do because I just have this like rhythm and way of doing it that they just look really nice when they're done. And I haven't done really anything different since I started doing them. All right. Oh, I did forget. We do have a flower over there, and it's not a sunflower. So, I think what I might do is I might end up doing in a brighter pink. Let's do pastel pink. Oh, we actually found a pastel pink this time. Oh, that's not pastel pink. That is neon pink. That's okay. I just think a nice pink little poppy that our bunny's holding would look cute. Yeah, I like that. And then we'll do the inner flower with a little bit of a different color. Let's see if there's like a little bit darker pink. Oh, that'll work. Disco pink. Disco pink will work for our centers. Yeah, that's a nice little bit of a darker shade of pink, and then we'll go in and kind of blend it a little bit into our other leaves. There, that's cute. I like that. All right. Well, that was an easy flower to do. Now I just need to figure out what to do for our sunflowers. I think I will do watercolors. So let's go ahead and do watercolors. I do have my smaller brush, which I think is going to be good. And I actually don't mind coloring out of the lines with the sunflowers because we're going to just have fun and do our sunflowers. I'm trying to figure out what color I should do though. I think just that one. And I need a brown. Probably raw umber. Okay, so I need raw umber. I'm looking at my list of colors. So raw umber, and then cadmium yellow, which I think is my go-to for sunflowers anyways. I don't know if I'll do any others, but I think I'll just do those. And then we might do like an alcohol marker just to kind of give it some shading, but these are the two that I tend to use a lot of. I need my water a little bit closer to me. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do our yellow first. Well, that's a dry yellow. I have to use some water to water that in. That's oops, it's a really dry color there. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do. What's nice is like you can like do a quick wash and it'll look like they're like painted or something. You also have to actually kind of be very careful with this type of watercolor because if you make it too much paint and not enough water, you can actually make your lines disappear. I've done that a few times because I just tend to like have like this really nice pigment to these watercolors that I love. But again, if I use too much water, then they'll kind of, make your lines disappear. Not too much, but they definitely do. That's why I just kind of want to give it like just a little bit. And I don't mind coloring out of the lines a little bit. I actually think I might do that a little bit more. Just because I think it kind of gives off a little bit of, a watercolor effect, a little bit of a painter feel. So it kind of gives it like a little bit of glow too. So I think it actually looks really nice to kind of like give them a little bit of glow about them. Also the fact that it's nice not to have super thin paintbrushes because if I did bring over a nice thin paintbrush, I don't think I would have the fun to just let it flow because I tend to be very, very strict about coloring in the lines. I don't know if you've noticed, but like I really don't like to color outside the line. But the sunflowers, I'm actually kind of liking it. I think it kind of gives off a little bit of a glow to them. I'm actually okay with it coloring outside the lines with the sunflowers. I really need new watercolor paintbrushes. They aren't as best as they could be anymore. I've never had really good paintbrushes anyways when it comes to watercolors. I don't know why, but they're just so expensive. Try not to do too much water because it's going to take forever to dry unless I use the dry gun again. But this is also a super quick way to get color on the page. So I didn't have to go in with my alcohol markers and do all the coloring and stuff. I actually kind of like the way the sunflowers just kind of spread and look very painterly. I will probably go in with some alcohol markers though to do some shading, but overall, I think the watercolors are doing the trick nicely. Is it kind of just a fun little effect? Sorry, my hand gets in the way. I'm a lefty. I do some things right-handed, like I can write with my right hand. I just can't be artistic with my right hand. Although I never really tried. I could possibly, potentially be, but probably not. I always tend to do sunflowers the same colors. Um, when I do watercolors, it's always the same colors. Not exactly sure why. It's just kind of always been that way. Excuse me, losing my voice a little bit, but at least we're almost done. Love how it's looking. Might give it a little bit more um, color going out. I think it looks really cool though. It definitely looks very painterly, and I actually kind of like that look to it. Okay, our last little sunflowers. I think I used too much water that time. And what's nice about these though is that um, the watercolors underneath, as long as they're dry, they really don't get super reactivated when you add layers and stuff, although they shouldn't, at least I don't think so. All right, gonna add a little bit more of the glow to the background there, and our last little flowers. A lot quicker, huh, than the alcohol markers even. I was like, what's quicker, alcohol markers or watercolors? That's kind of what my thinking was when I was like thinking like which one should I do. I was thinking to myself, which one's quicker? And when I started with the watercolors, I was like, oh, watercolors are actually quicker because I don't really care kind of how they look, and I like kind of like the going outside the line look, even though my 4-year-old self is yelling at me. I always colored in the lines. Like I hate it. I even yelled at my mom for coloring outside the lines. I was like, Mom, you cannot color outside the lines. Oh no, I forgot a spot on the page. I knew it. See, I knew it. I'm actually done with yellow, so I can. Uh, Nobody yelled at me in the comments yet, but somebody forgot part of the bunny. I think it's pale purple. No, it's not pale purple. It's the Is it pale purple? No, I'm lost. I don't think it's one of these. Where is that other one? Rosy lilac? Could be rosy lilac. But I forgot part of the bunny. There. Our bunny is now officially not having problems now. Our poor bunny was like completely out of the loop there. Poor bunny. Okay. Now, this is actually bothering me, and I might go and fix it. That part that I missed with the light blue, the sky and stuff, it's kind of bugging me a little bit. It's just, it should be sky and it's not. So I'm going to try to get into this little spot and try to just color it with a small amount of watercolor just to get the sky, because that's really bugging me. I don't know if it was bugging anybody else, but probably not because it was very pale color. You really couldn't tell, but okay, that's much better. Also going to go up here too because I think I missed. Like I either colored it almost too pale to where like it didn't really look like I colored it at all. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and give it a little bit more blue. That's much better. Not a whole lot, but like definitely like it just looked like I didn't color it with watercolors earlier, you know? It was just so pale. All right, so that's a little bit better. I like it much better. All right, now I'm gonna go in and do our center of our flowers with our brown that we chose, which is kind of like a called raw umber deep. I don't want it to be super dark, so I'm trying to not have it be too dark. Okay, that's too light. All right. Yeah, that's way too light now. All right. There, that's better. I don't know why it wasn't showing dark enough. Might have to add a little bit more pigment into it. At least we can start off with a little bit lighter and go in a little bit darker if we want to. Okay, we're getting a little bit darker with this bigger flower, but all right. I think that's actually nice though, because then we can go in and do a little bit darker afterwards. Need a little bit more pigment. The last two flowers. Usually do the center of sunflowers too dark anyway, so this actually might not be that bad. And I can also do some alcohol markers and stuff. But I think what I might do is I'm just going to splatter a little bit of, I really feel like with sunflowers, they tend to like have a darker center, kind of like a bunch of seeds in the center. So that's what I'm going to try to do is to just kind of splatter it, make it look like it's kind of more like seeds, like sunflower seeds, kind of. And I'm probably going to go in and do it again with a little bit of a darker color once it is, so that way it kind of really shows up as spots instead of just like a darker center. I probably should have dried the spaces in between a little bit more before I started doing that. Okay, now that that's done, I'm actually going to go ahead and mute really quick so I can go ahead and dry that up. And Missy says, I started with the leaves and the sunflowers. Awesome. Great job. All right, so I'm going to mute myself and I'll be back in about a minute. Okay, now I can unmute myself so we can finish up this page. Okay, so I'm actually going to go ahead and use alcohol markers to do the extra spotting that I want to do. And as far as the leaves go, or the centers of the sunflowers, I'm trying to figure out what color I want to do for like a little bit of shading. I don't know exactly how that's going to go, but like I want to do like, I think this yellow might be good to help corn yellow. So we're going to go with corn yellow. Wow, I can't talk. And then I want to do like a little bit of maybe a slight orange tone. Some mustard maybe will go really well. And I'm going to see how this is going to react with our watercolors. I just kind of wanted a little bit of an orange tone to our sunflowers. And then I will blend in, hopefully with the yellow, so it blends in a lot better. I just thought this would be kind of a nice look to it. I think we picked a good color there with our mustard. I want to go into corn yellow to kind of blend it out a little bit. Ooh, corn yellow. Corn yellow is almost looking like mustard. It's not looking super yellow. It's actually looking more almost like what we used before. So I actually think, you know what color would go well? That yellow we thought was really far off with our, I almost called him a turkey, with our chicken. Butter. I think butter is actually going to be the closest thing we're going to get. So we're going to mix that with our mustard instead. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of shading here in our flower. I tried to make sure the watercolor was really dry before I did anything. All right, I might actually end up doing a little bit of the outer edging of some of the bigger leaves just to kind of give it a little bit of color to it. All right, let's go in with butter and try to blend that out a little bit. Okay, we're actually not getting a whole lot of shading when it comes to the alcohol markers over the watercolors. I don't think they're going to really make a whole lot of difference in the leaves. Not a whole lot, really. So yeah, they're not giving a whole lot. So I think I might just stick with the mustard, and I'm just going to outline the little lines that are kind of popping out of the sunflowers. And then we'll do the brown and we'll call it a day, I guess. Yeah, it doesn't really do a whole lot to blend it out. So I'm just going to go ahead and do do the lines. So I think next time if I do sunflowers, I probably would do stick with the watercolor or the alcohol markers. Maybe if I did a little bit of a darker tone, I just didn't want to make it super dark with the sunflowers. I didn't want to like lose that bright yellow color, you know. I think I went all the way around with those. It gives it a little bit of tone or shading to it, but not too much. Just enough to say there's a little bit. All right, almost done with our flowers. And I forgot to mention in the video, if you're not coloring as fast as I am, or you color faster than me, it doesn't matter. Just as long as you're having fun coloring, you can go ahead and finish at your pace. I forgot to mention that at the beginning of the video, but I always say color at your own pace. This is actually fast for me. I normally take a really long time to color a page like this, but you know, with your company and stuff, I've been able to do it a little bit quicker. I just realized there's really no brown colors in this set. Like there's brown, but like not. Oh wait, we did use a brown, right? Didn't we? We did use a brown, dark brown with our raccoon, but there's really not a whole lot of browns in this set, I've noticed. But it's going to be enough to give us that speckled look to our sunflowers that I really wanted from the beginning. Yes. Oh, that's perfect. It's a nice finished look to our sunflowers. We might need a darker color on this one because I did do it a bit darker, but at least we can kind of tap our way into making it look like an actual sunflower. Actually, probably should have done this to begin with instead of the darker brown center with the watercolors. I think the tapping kind of creates a little bit of a better look to the center. All right. So I think that is our page. I don't think I missed anything. I think we're all shaded and everything. I could have done more shading in like a couple of spots, but I think it looks nice. It looks very, very spring-like. So that is our finished page. So you can go ahead and finish your page. Feel free to tag me if you post on Instagram and stuff. I would love to see your finished pages for this month. You can tag me at the Coloring Angel. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next video.